Hey everyone, and welcome back. I wanted to share my favorite brushes with you today. These are mostly from the drugstore. Some of them are not, but they are still affordable. I do own quite a few makeup brushes, and it was really tough for me to kind of narrow it down to the ones I really liked the most, but also I wanted to make sure I gave you guys lots of options so you can kind of have lots to choose from. Could do a whole separate video on eye brushes if you guys would be interested. Brushes are so dirty right now. They are in desperate need of a good wash. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. Let's just jump right into these brushes. I want to start off with my foundation brushes. I have a lot of favorite foundation brushes, mainly because I prefer to use brushes over sponges. For me, it's just faster, and I don't know, I just like using brushes for my foundation. So I do have 5 to share with you, which is a lot, but they all serve different purposes for me and they work with different foundations. This is the Real Techniques buffing brush. This comes in a pack of 4. I think it's called the Core Collection. This used to be like my favorite foundation brush that I used all the time, but I actually don't use it as much anymore. It is still really good though, and it works really well with pretty much all types of foundation, so liquids, whipped formulas, more moussey textures. I prefer it most for just my regular liquid foundations. So it's really soft, it's a dome shape, and it's round. It blends in my foundation really nicely. It doesn't leave streaks, so it's just an overall good brush. Another one of my favorite foundation brushes is this e.l.f. This is so dirty. Ew. e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. It's pretty similar to the Real Techniques one, in size at least. The bristles are really tightly packed and it is a lot denser. I prefer to use this one for things that are a little bit thicker in consistency, things like BB creams or just moussier foundations. e.l.f. and Real Techniques are probably the best quality brushes you can find at the drugstore. Oh, and Ecotools. So this one you can't find at the drugstore, but it is very affordable, and this is from Morphe brushes, so you have to buy this online on the Morphe website. This is the Morphe M439. Pretty similar to the e.l.f. These are all kind of similar, but this is pretty similar to the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush, but it is a lot bigger and slightly fluffier almost than the e.l.f. one. I love this foundation brush. It blends in my foundation really nicely. Not all Morphe brushes are the same. I feel like some of them are better quality than others, but the M439 one is really good quality. It does not shed. Similar to the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush, this works best with moussier and thicker foundations. 2 more foundation brushes to share with you. This is the first brush I actually ever bought, and the handle is like completely rubbed off. This is the Sonia Kashuk number 130 brush. You can't buy Sonia Kashuk in Canada anymore because we don't have Target. This is a lot bigger than the other brushes I've shared with you. It's more similar to the Real Techniques one because it is dense, but it is fluffy at the same time. I just like using it in circular buffing motions. Because it's so big, it makes the process of blending out foundation really, really fast. It's really great quality. I wish we had Sonia Kashuk in Canada because of all the 5 I'm sharing with you, this would be the one I would recommend because it works with every single type of foundation. And the last foundation brush I have to share with you isn't necessarily a must-have in anybody's makeup collection, but I do really like it, and it is the Ecotools Custom Buffing Brush. Ecotools is amazing quality for the price. It has the softest brushes I've ever felt. Like, from all my drugstore brushes, these are the softest. This is the foundation brush that I like to use for liquid foundations, so anything that is really, really liquidy, like Makeup Forever Water Blend Foundation and the Maybelline Fit Me foundations. It is a flat-topped Kabuki style brush. It's pretty dense, but it does have a lot of flexibility, and I just like using it to just stipple on foundation. Also works really well with concealer. Half the time I use my foundation brushes to blend in my under eye concealer, and I like this one a lot because it is slightly smaller. So those are all my favorite foundation brushes. Like I said, I have a lot. Rotate between these 5 all the time. The next category of brushes is concealer brushes. I only have 2 to share with you, and I feel like I only need these 2. One of them I like to use for spot concealing, and the other one I like to use for under my eyes. This is really dirty, and it is the e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush. This is an amazing little brush for spot concealing. I like to spot conceal before applying my foundation, so I just kind of dot it onto any blemishes. It blends out concealer really well. And overall, a great quality brush. I use it every single day. It is amazing. You could also use it for underneath your eyes, but for the most part, this is what I use to blend in my spot concealer. Definitely could not live without this one. This is from Real Techniques. It came in the same core collection package as the buffing brush. There was these two and then two other brushes. I think it's called their contour. Yeah, this is called their contour brush. I don't use this for contouring. I mean, you could. It's really like small. It could give you a really nice chiseled contour, but I actually prefer this for my under eye concealer. It blends out under eye concealer really fast. It's really great quality. It's soft. It's got like a domed oval sort of shape. I love this little guy a lot as well. Before I go into like my powder brushes, I'm going to show you two brushes that I like to use for cream products, because typically after I apply my foundation and concealer, if I'm going in with cream products, this is when I would do it. The first one is the Real Techniques Sculpting brush. It's a nice angled brush. I really like it for applying cream contour. It doesn't leave anything patchy or streaky. It is incredibly soft. It's probably my softest Real Techniques brush. You could also use this for foundation. I know some people do, and I haven't yet because I like to keep my brushes like in their categories, so I only really use this for cream contour products. Really great, high quality, awesome brush. And then for cream blushes, this is the Real Techniques Stippling brush. Works really well for blending in cream blush. Doesn't apply too much product. You do have a lot of control. It is a little bit spiky. I think that's the case with all stippling brushes. I think most of them are a little bit spikier. I really like it. It works like a gem. For someone who likes to set their entire face with powder, I feel like you need some kind of large powder brush. One I have to share with you is not from the drugstore. This is from a company called Vanity Planet. It came in their Vanity Planet palette brush set, something like that. It came with like 30 different brushes. For some reason, that palette is listed as like $100 on their website, but it is not $100. It is definitely not worth $100. I think I got it for 30. You just have to find a coupon code. This is the little guy that I use to set my entire face with powder in the morning. It's nice and fluffy and soft. It doesn't pack on too much powder. But if you don't want to buy the Vanity Planet one, Real Techniques makes a nice large powder brush that's good for setting. And I think e.l.f. has a little Kabuki brush like this as well. And then for setting my under eye concealer, I rotate between two brushes, and these also work as my highlighter brushes. This is the Real Techniques setting brush. Pretty small. It's more like a paddle shaped brush. It's a little bit flatter and it tapers to like a little point, which makes it really nice for getting right underneath your under eyes. It's also really nice for highlighting. Really great brush overall. And then the other one I like to use is the e.l.f. small tapered brush. This is just basically a bigger version of the Real Techniques one, except it is a little bit rounder and it comes to a little bit of a sharper point. It's really nice for setting your under eyes. It's super soft and high quality. It's great for highlighting your cheeks as well. Just a really nice brush, and I rotate between these two on an everyday basis. The brushes that I use to bronze, contour, and add blush to my cheeks are all the same. I use the same brush to my cheeks every day. First one I want to share with you is this Real Techniques. I have a lot of Real Techniques and e.l.f. Those are pretty much the only brushes I own. This is the Real Techniques multitask brush. It is a fatter brush, but it does have a slight flatness to it. Definitely more of a paddle. It does have a nice taper to it as well. I like this one for bronzing up my cheeks as well as adding blush. The next brush is another one from Vanity Planet. The Vanity Planet ones don't have names on them, but it came from that same brush set as the little Kabuki brush, and I think this is just called the contouring brush. I'll use it on its angle to add contour, and then I'll just flip it and blend everything in like that. I also use it for blush. This is actually the brush I used today to apply my bronzer and blush. And I do feel like if you're someone who likes to contour, an angled contouring brush is necessary in your collection. Like I said, the Vanity Planet brushes I don't think are the best quality, but this one hasn't shed on me. It hasn't broken. This is the one I grab when I feel like contouring my cheekbones. The last brush in that category is my favorite brush of all time. This is the brush that I take with me when I am going away for the weekend or staying somewhere overnight. This is from Ecotools, and this is their blush brush. I feel like this is the only brush you need for all of your powder products. It works for contouring, bronzing, blushing, highlighting, setting. I guess you would describe this as an actual paddle shaped brush. Not super thick, but it is fluffy at the same time. It's tapered along the sides and it comes to sort of like a little point at the top. Like I said, I like to take this one with when I'm traveling somewhere because I can use it to set my under eye, I can use it to contour, I can use it to blend in my bronzer and apply blush like it's actually labeled to do, and you can also just use it to set your entire face. If I lost like all of my powder brushes, this is the one brush I would want to keep. All the Ecotools brushes are super soft, but this one is just especially soft. Like, I could touch my face with this all day. I definitely recommend you grab this. Even if you have a bunch of other brushes, I would still recommend this. Definitely my favorite brush ever. And those are all my favorite like face brushes that I own. So I'm just gonna quickly talk about some eyeshadow brushes. The first one I wanna share with you is this Real Techniques domed eyeshadow brush. This one came in a collection with this brush. I don't think you can buy them separately, but the multitasker and the domed eyeshadow brush came in like a traveler set. And what I like to use this one for is blending out cream or eyeshadow sticks. It is dense, but it is soft at the same time. So you can use it to blend out cream or just kind of buff in regular powder eyeshadows. It's got a nice shape to it. You can get a lot of use out of this guy. I do feel like everybody needs some kind of big fluffy blending brush. I was never actually able to find a good one from the drugstore. I know NYX has one out now, but I was never able to find one. So I ended up buying the Morphe MB23. This is just your classic round fluffy blending brush. I use this one a lot, almost every day, because I like just washing some color into the crease of my eye. It's really soft, it's not dense at all. It is pretty big, so it wouldn't work for smaller eyes. Great quality, doesn't shed, it hasn't broken on me, so. Next two brushes I want to share with you came in a pack. These are from Ecotools, and I can't remember what this is called. Came in a pack of two like this. They both have two sides. This one I actually use every single day. Between this and this brush, these are the two that I use every single day. It has this end, which is not as big as fluffy blending brushes, like not as big as this obviously, but it does have the same shape, it's just smaller. So if you have a smaller eyelid space, this one would be so good for blending in your eyeshadow. This is what I use today actually. And the other side is basically the only thing I use for my lower lash line. It can get right in underneath your eyelashes. You use it on my top lash line if I want to smoke out my eyeliner. For the lower lash line, I feel like this is the only thing you need. So this is like my favorite brush. Definitely a must-have, I feel like, in anybody's eyeshadow collection. The other brush that came in the package, I don't use as often as this one, but it is still really nice. It has one side which is just your typical eyeshadow brush. It's pretty versatile. You can use it to blend things out on the outer V of your eye or just onto the lid. The other side is a flat angled brush. This one I like to use to get really close to my lower lash line. When I'm applying like a black eyeshadow, I like to get it as close to my waterline as possible. I feel like between these three brushes, that's basically all you need to create an eye look. But I did want to share with you two more eyeshadow brushes that I feel like they're not necessary, but they are nice to have. The first one is another one from Morphe, and this is the MB13 brush. It's sort of like a blending brush, but it is a little bit flatter, sort of a tapered end, but it's not quite flat enough to pack eyeshadow onto the lid. What I like using this for is just to blend out the outer corner of my eye. You can use it in your crease because it's kind of fluffy enough to do that, but it's also small enough to fit on the outer corner. I feel like that way it's really versatile. And the last one is from e.l.f. This is the e.l.f. eyeshadow brush. It's from their like $1 line, and it is just your basic flat eyeshadow brush. This one is perfect for applying eyeshadow onto the lid. It packs eyeshadow on really nicely. Great eyeshadow brush to have if you like to pack shimmery or metallic eyeshadows onto your lid. Okay, so those are all of my favorite brushes from the drugstore. I hope that this video was helpful for you guys, especially if you are interested in buying some more makeup brushes. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you would like to see more videos, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!